Being in a medical industry, either students or doctors, we are not only bounded to facts and science, we also need imagination to imagine, to comprehend, and to understand the world. And this is why animation is an integral part in the life of a human being. Animation helps us be able to tell stories and communicate emotions and ideas in a unique, easy to perceive way that both small children and adults can understand. Animation has helped connect people throughout the world in a way that sometimes writing and live action films cannot. Thus, our topic for the day, animation and cartoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fawwaz Naim bin Kamarizan, metric number 1811253, and I'll start out by briefing you on the contents of our seminar. We'll start with introduction and development of the animation industry, followed by types of animation, then the processes involved in animation, local and international animation companies, and finally the conclusion. So now, everyone please get comfortable in your couches, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
How much they pay the animator? It is time to copy paste the resume.
Humankind has always been fascinated by moving images. The desire to make pictures move has provoked some of the most innovative developments in the field of science and technology during the 20th century. Now, what is animation actually? To animate, and the related words such as animation, animated, and animator all derive from the Latin verb animare, which means to give life to, and within the context of the animated film, this largely means the artificial creation of the illusion of movement in inanimate lines and forms. But this definition has been proven insufficient in the description of other kinds of animation, such as those generated from computers. Several animators have then given their own definition to what animation is, and they suggest that to animate is to give life and soul to a design, not through the copying but through the transformation of reality. We divided the timeline of the development of animation in four parts: 1833, before cinematography was invented; 1895, the silent era; the 1950s, when animation became popular on television; and the 1990s, when studios started to switch to computer animation. To further understand how animation has come to be as it is right now, we need to start all the way back in 1833. Hundreds of years before the introduction of true animation, people from all over the world enjoyed shows with moving figures that were created and manipulated manually in puppetry, shadow play, and the magic lantern. In 1833, the stroboscopic disc introduced the principle of modern animation with sequential images that were shown one by one in quick succession to form an optical illusion of motion pictures. Series of sequential images had occasionally been made over thousands of years, but the stroboscopic disc provided the first method to represent such images in fluent motion. The stroboscopic animation principle was also applied in the zoetrope, the flip book, and the proxinoscope. Moving on to 1895, the silent era. This was the moment when cinematography was developed, and due to its development, the wonder of the realistic details of pictures in the new medium was seen as its biggest accomplishment. Now, instead of drawing images, they are now able to capture Instead of drawing images, they are now able to capture pictures from live action footage and make it into animation. This animation was initially commercialized by manufacturers of optical toys, where film loops were adapted in toy magic lanterns intended for kids to use at home. It was only after the 1910s when the production of animated cartoons became an industry in the US. This is due to the cell animation process being patented, which dominated the animation industry for the rest of the century. What is cell animation? Cell animation is the art of creating 2D animation by hand on sheets of transparent plastic called cells. Cell is short for celluloid, which is a transparent sheet which objects are drawn or painted on.
Instead of painting the background on celluloid and laying it on top of the animation, Earl switched it so that the animation was laid on top of a static background. This way, the background remains constant while the cartoon character can move around in front of it. This process became the preferred method of traditional animation until the advent of specialized computer software almost 70 years later.
Many cartoon characters were featured in films since then, which includes Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck, and many more. But only in the 1950s did animation become very popular on television. A major factor contributing to this is because television sets were becoming more common in most wealthy countries. Cartoons were mainly programmed for children on convenient time slots, usually in the Saturdays. Cartoon series such as Scooby-Doo and the Smurfs were huge hit series at that time. Then came the 1990s, which revolutionized the animation industry. 3D style animation, more often associated with computer animation, became extremely popular since the release of Pixar's Toy Story in 1995, which is the first computer animated feature in this style. Most of the style animation studios switched to films as it proved to be cheaper and more profitable. Not only did 3D animation style was generated with computers, but also most of the films and series with a more traditional handcrafted appearance associated with cell animation could be emulated with software. Since then, many animated movies were made, namely my favorites, Finding Nemo in 2003, Wall-E in 2008, and Frozen in 2013. And that's all from me. Thank you.